Note: this is one of the predictions of this channel. The next exciting development in AI will not be AGI. It will be the development of a great multitude of AIs, each with their own political slants and areas of expertise.
We are about to make history together. Thanks to your support, we have reached a critical mass of resources and reach and knowledge that I am going to make an announcement here today that is without question the most important announcement in the history of my companies, including Natural News and Brighteon and the Health Ranger store. And it's a very positive announcement, and it would not have been possible without your support. I really want to thank you for your outpouring of support during our Black Friday sale and over the years, in fact. And I want to now share with you what that means, what we are going to do together that is going to change the future of human civilization. And I'm finally at a point where I can make this announcement public, although there are many things we've been working on for quite some time behind the scenes to prepare for this. There is a concerted effort by the powers that be, including big tech, big governments, and big pharma, to eradicate human knowledge about health and nutrition, natural medicine, alternative healing modalities, even knowledge about the human immune system. And we all witnessed this during the COVID years. We saw the efforts to try to eradicate knowledge of quercetin or zinc or vitamin D or ivermectin, for that matter. And we've all seen the Google search engine updates, the Medic update, I think that was 2017, that basically eradicated the alternative media of health and nutrition information and replaced everything with big pharma funded, WebMD and so on. And so there's been this ongoing effort to eradicate human knowledge of health and nutrition and push everybody into vaccines and pharmaceuticals and psychiatric drugs, surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, all the things that generate profits for big pharma and big hospitals and what I call the death care industry or the sick care industry, which now represents through Medicare and Medicaid about a third of the federal government's spending. I mean, it's incredible. A third of the government spending, roughly, give or take, is spent on basically keeping people sick instead of teaching them how to be well, how to overcome diseases, how to prevent disease, how to be healthy and protect their longevity and protect their cognitive function and so on, protect their fertility. And so what I'm about to announce here is a major pushback that is going to make Google utterly obsolete when it comes to searching for health information. And it's not a competing search engine. Although we had initiated a search engine project back in 2019 before COVID, or right at the end of 2019, that project had some very serious scaling challenges that we just could not overcome. And also, a search engine doesn't really answer your questions, if you think about it. If you have a question like, hey, which herbs can help prevent type 2 diabetes, let's say, or which herbs can protect the liver? A search engine doesn't really answer that question, does it? A search engine just gives you a list of pages where you might go to and perhaps you'll find the answers there. But as you know, Google and Bing and even the other search engines, for the most part, DuckDuckGo, for example, they've wiped out the truth about health and nutrition and alternative medicine and so on. And they basically just push big pharma now. You can't find what you used to be able to find on Google since their Medic update. And that's all on purpose. So again, this is the eradication of human knowledge that is underway. And we're going to push back against that very aggressively in something that I'm going to announce here. I'll get to it in a second. But I do want you to understand, Google is not really a knowledge engine. Google is an anti-knowledge search engine. It is a disinformation engine. Google is designed to destroy knowledge, not to index it and make it available to you. Google is controlled by the deep state, just as Wikipedia is too, by the way. Wikipedia is not designed to give you access to human knowledge. Wikipedia is a tool of the CIA to control the public narratives about everything that matters and about all the people that matter and so on. So Google, Wikipedia, YouTube, Facebook, they cannot be relied on to give you access to information that can protect and enhance the quality of your life. And as you know, I'm the host of a new show called Decentralized TV. And in this show, we talk about decentralization as the answer to set humanity free and to democratize knowledge and information, money and finance, power, speech, all of these things that matter, even health. Because centralization has put too much power in the hands of too few people. Centralization has given Google search engine dominance, 98% dominance or something close to that. And no one's going to be able to challenge Google as a search engine. Instead, Google's about to be made obsolete by what I'm about to share with you here. And we're not the only ones involved in this genre of advancement, by the way, so I'll give you more details here in a second. But centralization is the enemy of human knowledge and prosperity, liberty, the freedom to speak, the freedom to choose the medical interventions that you believe are the most helpful for you and the most aligned with your core philosophies. And centralization of knowledge, which is achieved in part through government-sponsored censorship and big tech censorship that is designed to suppress knowledge they don't want you to know about by labeling it misinformation or disinformation or just blacklisting it entirely. Well, all of that is going to end up destroying human civilization. Censorship is not the way forward. You can't have a more prosperous society by having less free speech. It doesn't work that way. If you want to have prosperity, you want to have ingenuity, innovation, creativity, ideas, debates, democracy, it has to be based on the freedom to speak, which is the decentralization of the ability to speak. And the ability to speak has to be powered by the ability to access knowledge. And that means we must have decentralization of human knowledge. In other words, every single person must have access to knowledge in order for humanity to be free and to prosper and to advance, to make any sort of progress whatsoever. And so, what we're announcing here, which will contribute in a substantial manner to the progress of humanity, to the knowledge base of human civilization, is an open source, freely downloadable, locally run, large language model system, also known as an AI chat system, that will be trained based on all of the world's knowledge that we can gather on natural health, nutrition, herbs, alternative medicine modalities, disease prevention, mind-body medicine, energy medicine, and so much more. We have begun a project to build an AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT, based on open source systems that have matured substantially over the last 2 years. We're going to build this health-based chatbot system, and we're going to give it away for free. And it will be built on open source principles, and we will likely ask for volunteers to help us curate the training that goes into this system, by the way. But this is our project, and we believe we'll have the first version available for download within 120 days. Worst case, maybe 6 months, but I think it can be done in 120 days, perhaps even less. And then we will continue to iterate the system with new training, new content, in order to keep building to the knowledge base that it has. And what this means to you, is that you will be able to run on your computer, either a Mac or a PC or a Linux system. You'll be able to run locally. You just download the system, you'll run it locally, and you will be able to ask it almost any question about health, nutrition, disease prevention, foods, superfoods, alternative medicine, symptoms, you name it. You'll be able to ask it almost any question, and it will give you very good answers based on literally millions of documents. Documents that we have acquired over the years that are filled with nutritional wisdom from many, many authors. I mean, probably easily over 1,000 authors. And you will be able to get answers to questions right there as if you were talking to the expert authors of all of these books. So, for example, let's say you want to know, let's say you have a really amazing book on the shelf right now, and it's a 1,000-page book, and it's called, the Encyclopedia of Natural Health Knowledge, let's say. And you want to know, you have a question, like, hey, what should I do for, itchy skin or something like that? Well, normally you'd have to go open the book and you'd have to go to the index or look at the table of contents. You'd have to figure it out. Or you go online and you type that into a search engine, but then the search engine is recording that you have itchy skin. So the search engine is spying on you. It's violating your privacy. That's the way Google works. You are the product, remember. But what if instead of having to flip through the book or ask Google, which will only give you typically big pharma answers like, take this drug, or have this cut off, right? Those are Google answers. Instead, what if you had a piece of software on your computer that was free of charge, free to use, and it runs on just a standard system, an everyday PC, Windows, or Macintosh or Linux system, and it could give you answers not only from that encyclopedia of natural health knowledge, but also from 1,000 other books and 100,000 more articles and 1 million scientific study abstracts. And it would give you those answers in seconds. Would that be of interest to you? Would that be valuable to humanity? And the answer is, oh my gosh, of course, that would be absolutely amazing, because you're bypassing Google censorship. You're bypassing the search engines that are spying on you, because maybe you have, private medical questions. You don't want to be uploading all your questions to Google or any search engine, violating your privacy, because all that's stored, all that's monitored by the NSA, by the way. You're being spied on constantly, but if you search locally on your own computer, there's no record of that on the internet. In fact, you don't even need an internet connection to query this system on your own computer, once you've downloaded, of course. So again, to reiterate, and I know this is a lot to take in, we are now funding and building a very large language model system, which I should add is based on some existing open source LLMs or large language models, and we will give credit to the language models that we use. We will stand on their shoulders and we will add to them in the specific area of health and nutrition, disease prevention, food contamination, toxins to avoid all of this. We're going to basically build an AI system that will be open source, that anybody can use for free, locally on their own computer without an internet connection. And I think we can start to give this away in 120 days. So that's my big announcement here today. Now, let me give you a little bit of background on this so you understand how many years it took to get to this point. First of all, over a decade ago, this was actually something I began, 2007, I believe. If you go to the website nutrientreference.com, for example, or you can go to Herb Reference, and we have websites like Nutrient Reference and Supplement Reference and so on. Anyway, if you go to nutrientreference.com, you're going to see a picture of me there from 2007, I think, by the way. And you're also going to see a list of the most common nutrients and the most common health conditions. And so if you look at nutrients like, here's chromium, and if you click on chromium, then it gives you a whole list of what chromium may help with. And here it shows you, blood sugar disorders and glucose intolerance, high cholesterol, and so on. And it talks about organs and systems that chromium supports. And it also talks about sources of chromium. Like you can find chromium in broccoli, artichokes, onions, Brazil nuts, and so on. And it talks about the sources that have been cited, the New Whole Foods Encyclopedia, for example, the Encyclopedia of Healing Foods, Healing with Whole Foods, and so on. Now, I built this system back in, again, it's 2007 or 2008, something like that. I built this system as what would now be described as a kind of a large language model. Basically, this was a language processing system that I personally wrote the code for this. I don't know if you know this, but I used to write a lot of code in both PHP and classic ASP, and SQL queries and the whole bit, and of course Visual Basic early on as well. But this system was actually written inside Microsoft Visual Basic, inside an enterprise SQL system. And what it did is it analyzed the text of over 1,000 books that we scanned. We scanned all the books and we OCR'd them into text. And then we used the text to begin parsing the language of different things out of the text. For example, I generated a list of what are all the known nutrients. And then there's another list of what are all the known diseases and symptoms. And another list of what are all the known organs or organ systems, and so on. And then I defined those and then wrote this very complex system to go in and statistically begin to link nutrients with diseases, for example, and then to pull out of the text which nutrients are useful for which diseases or which organ systems are supported by which nutrients, and so on. And you can also do this in the opposite way. You can search on a disease such as, let's say, asthma. You click on asthma here on this website, and it tells you what are the foods that help with asthma. And here you can see bell pepper, apple, fish, yams, Jerusalem artichokes, walnuts, and so on. And it gives the sources for those as well. And also healing herbs, like cat's claw, wild cherry bark, and so on. Nettles, ma huang. Yeah, it all makes sense. So this is a very valuable reference system. And again, I wrote it many, many years ago. And it also, for example, indexes foods. So if you click on the left-hand side, you click on beets, and then it shows you what beets might be able to help with. And then it shows you what nutrients are found in beets. So in beets, you have trimethylglycine, zinc, folic acid, and so on. So this is a very large data set, and this is an interactive or really a relational data set across a large amount of text. And later on, I downloaded 10 million papers from PubMed through, of course, an automated process. I wouldn't try that manually. And then we began to use this on PubMed. And so I also ended up publishing a system out there that analyzes all of these systems through PubMed papers and does much the same thing that you're seeing here. Now, what's interesting about all of this is that even though I spent maybe, almost 2 years building this system, it was never very popular. People didn't really find much value in it for whatever reason, even though looking at it right now, you might think, wow, this is amazing. How come I didn't hear about this before? Yeah, I think it is amazing. It's pretty cool. But it doesn't work in the way that people like to ask questions. So people don't actually like to drill down through hierarchical data sets in order to find answers. Most people, they just want to ask questions in common language. So a lot of people would ask me something like, hey, what foods are good for, back pain, let's say. And I would answer, well, guess what? You can go to healingfoodreference.com and you can click on back pain and you can search. You can look at the foods and the nutrients. And like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want you to tell me just which foods are good for back pain, or what are good treatments for headaches, like that's it. They just want to ask questions. And so most people did not find value in the system that I built. And so it kind of went by the wayside. And in fact, what you see today is still there from, over a decade ago or almost 15 years ago. It's still the same thing. Now then, in the years since then, what has happened is that we have seen a revolution in AI systems, and more recently, ChatGPT. Now, AI systems are called, artificial intelligence, but they're really generative systems, linguistic generative systems that study patterns in language. For example, they can study chats, they can study customer support emails, they can study articles, books, anything, any source of questions and answers from websites, all kinds of things. And through some very clever processing and also a very large amount of research and effort that has been put into to define all of the grammatical structures and semantic structures in the human languages, because this is more than just English. But because of all that, we now have ChatGPT. That's what most people are familiar with. And ChatGPT from OpenAI is a system that is actually not open source. It is closed source. It is monopolized by the OpenAI company. But it's a system that you can query just like you would in a normal way. You can ask ChatGPT, hey, what foods might help me with back pain? And it will give you an answer. It will give you actually some pretty interesting answers. You could even ask it things like, hey, write a resignation letter for me because I'm going to resign from my job. And it will write the letter for you. And in fact, there have been attorneys that have been cited by judges in courts for making arguments based on having ChatGPT do all their research. And some of it turns out to be made up, by the way. That's what's funny about it. ChatGPT isn't 100% accurate in terms of, facts and so on. And sometimes it has what are called hallucinations, where it makes something up. But that's true across all AI systems at the moment. Nevertheless, right now, every college student knows that if you want to cheat on writing an essay, you just go to ChatGPT and you tell it to write an essay on, whatever, Niagara Falls. And it writes the essay, and then you copy and paste, and then you turn it in to your professor and you say that you wrote it. Now, of course, professors, they're all clued in on this these days. They know that students aren't writing these papers. They know that it's AI systems. But I'm just giving you these examples because AI can do some pretty amazing things in chat systems right now. But here's the thing. There's a giant war taking place between centralized control over AI, which is, let's say, the OpenAI company or Microsoft AI or Google AI or Facebook, Meta AI, and so on, versus what we would call decentralized open source AI. And those open source AI systems are where we are focused because, of course, I believe in open source. I believe in decentralization. I believe in the democratization of ideas and knowledge and speech, of course. And we have long been supporters of open source methods and software programs. For example, we built Brighteon.social, which is a social media system that was built on existing open source tools. And then we released our source code on GitHub so that anybody could take all the code that we wrote at, I don't know what we spent, $100,000, $200,000, I'm not sure. We spent a lot of money, and then we published that open source code on GitHub so anybody can use it. Because I believe in open source sharing. I think that knowledge wants to be free, and I think that for humanity to be free, we must not covet knowledge. We have to share knowledge. We have to share even the code that we've written. We have to share the tools that we've created. I want to empower people with knowledge, not to restrict it and control it, which is what Google does and what YouTube does and what Facebook does and what even Twitter still does. There's a lot of censorship on Twitter. And the push for censorship right now is very loud and very strong all over the world. You have to censor anybody who says anything critical about vaccines, for example. You have to censor anybody calling to stop the bombing in Gaza. It's just crazy. It's just all out censorship. Oh, censor anybody who thought the election was stolen. It's crazy. But that just makes us less free. Whereas these open source AI tools, now hear me out. I want to be very careful about this. Open source AI tools, when they can be put into the hands of the individuals, the people, you and I, they can be empowering. Whereas when AI technology is used and controlled by corporations and fascist governments, then those AI systems can be weaponized against humanity and used to enslave human beings. The way we fight against that is to do the opposite. We democratize AI. We share it. We build it. We contribute to it. And then we open source that so that everybody can benefit. And that's exactly what I'm announcing here today. This is what we are doing. From here forward, we are building the world's largest repository of health, nutrition, alternative medicine, disease prevention, food toxins, detox, all of this. These areas that I've been passionate about for so many years, especially as I run my food science lab, and test for heavy metals and test for dioxins and so on. We are building the world's largest repository of this knowledge base, and we're going to package it up as a large language model that you can use and download free of charge. And again, this will enable you on your own computer to ask questions, and you'll be able to get answers in a normal human-like format, like somebody just writing an answer to you. And by the way, in this language model, we're going to parse or ingest all of the articles that I have ever written. So in essence, you'll be able to ask the health ranger any question you want about health and get an answer that is an answer that I would likely have given you anyway. But you'll be able to do that through this system. Now, of course, my knowledge is very limited compared to the totality of human knowledge and all the knowledge of all the other experts out there. So what makes this system strong is that we're bringing in so many sources of information. So as I mentioned earlier, when I built the healingfoodreference.com or herbreference.com, we have indexes and scans of over 1,000 books that are written by many experts. And we also have over 100,000 articles that we've published alone. And we also, when we started working on the search engine back in 2019, we built a pretty effective web crawler spider. And this spider is what currently powers censored.news and some other projects that we're working on. That spider is able to pull in articles from websites that we believe can contribute authoritatively to this knowledge base. For example, let's say Children's Health Defense, the nonprofit, or many other nonprofits that are out there. So we're going to be actually spidering, crawling, indexing, or ingesting literally hundreds of thousands of additional articles from across sources that we trust. So we are the curator of this knowledge base, and we are independent-minded people, right? We are pro-nutrition, and we are pro-natural health, pro-prevention. We support knowledge. We support people making informed decisions about their lifestyle choices and their dietary habits and learning recipes for smoothies and so much more. The bottom line is I want you to have all this knowledge at your fingertips, and you will. You will. You will be able to install this and download it and run it on your own local computer. Again, Mac, PC, Linux, doesn't matter. And you'll be able to ask it any question you want. It'll be like asking not just natural news or asking the health ranger. It'll be like asking 1,000 experts in nutrition. What are the answers to these questions? And it's going to be a game changer. Again, you won't have to query on Google, which doesn't give you good answers anyway. You won't have to violate your own privacy by sending your queries to Google. And also, since you don't even use the internet for this, no one can spy on you. The government won't spy on your queries. And you can ask this system, lots of questions like, how can I start growing sprouts? Or what are the best nutrients in, let's say, broccoli sprouts, right? And it'll tell you, sulforaphane, and some other nutrients. Or you could ask, what are the most common contaminants found in spices, let's say, and it would tell you, oh, lead, And you could say, what are the best detox strategies for eliminating lead from the human body? And it would tell you, it would give you from all the authoritative sources. And again, you can ask it anything you want, and it will give you the best answers that it can find across all of these sources. So this is what we are building. I do have a name for it. I'm not ready to release that name yet publicly, but we have a working internal code name for this. But as you can tell, this is a project that's going to take a tremendous amount of resources. And it also requires technology that frankly did not exist until it did not exist until this year, 2023. So I am super excited about this because I wanted to build this system back in 2008. It just didn't exist. The tech wasn't there. But just in the last year, there have been so many advancements in the open source large language models arena that this is now available to all of us. And again, we're standing on the shoulders of so many other people. I'm talking about coders and engineers and volunteers and people who curated the existing language models that we're going to build on top of. There are literally tens of thousands of people who have contributed to the base that we're going to be building on top of. And I will always give them credit by name where I can when I know their names. So when we release this, we're going to have a full credits page, obviously, of which tools we're using and who built those tools and what are their websites and so on, and what are their Telegram channels or what have you. We're going to give everybody credit because this isn't, we didn't build this whole thing from scratch, but what we have done and it's been a dream of mine since 2007 or 2008 is I have collected content. I have terabytes of data. Okay. Let me tell you, I have terabytes of data. I have terabytes of actual TIFF images of the scans of books. Every page is an image. I have terabytes of it. Okay. I bought an LTO-8 tape backup system just to have long-term storage of the terabytes of data of the content that I've been accumulating since about 2007 or 2008. And we wrote an engine to parse PubMed, and we downloaded, like I said, over 10 million PubMed articles. And I've got all those in a folder. And I'm just thinking, thank goodness data storage has become very inexpensive over the last 15 years, because when I first started this project, a 1 gigabyte hard drive was pretty expensive. Now, even a terabyte is dirt cheap. Now you're talking 8 terabytes for like $400 or something. So storage is really cheap now. And that's a good thing because I have a lot of data that I've stored and accumulated over the years. And we've written routines for spidering and crawling, and in some cases indexing, and also cleaning. I've written a lot of routines about cleaning data, book data, parsing it into a format that doesn't have a bunch of junk or special characters in it, for example. And now, only now, this year in 2023, has the AI open source technology come into existence that fulfills the dream that I had back in 2008. And so I'm super excited to be able to announce this. And I'm not asking anything from you other than just keep supporting us. Keep supporting us. Every time you shop at my online store, healthrangerstore.com, you are in effect funding now this project, because we're going to spend, I honestly don't know. If we spend less than $1 million, I'll be surprised. It'll probably be more than $1 million, especially over time, because we're going to keep doing updates and so on. We're going to involve quite a lot of people, a number of projects. We spent millions of dollars on Brighteon, by the way, to build that. So we're probably going to spend at least $1 million on this project, but we can do that thanks to your support. I don't take profits out of the store and go buy luxury vehicles and boats and jet skis and gold rings. And I don't know, I'm just not into that. What I do is I take resources that we've been blessed with, i.e. profits from your support, and I put them back into really amazing, important, game-changing projects like Brighteon or Brighteon University now, brightu.com. And these projects are game changers. Or we built Brighteon.social, for example. Now we're about to build the world's largest natural health language model AI chatbot system using open source components, and we're going to give it away for free. So you don't need to do anything right now I'm not asking for donations. Just keep supporting us. Shop at healthrangerstore.com. And I will keep you posted on this. And again, within 120 days, and let's say by the end of March of 2024, we will have a downloadable open source LLM or some similar configuration, a package that you can download and you can run it locally. And it will be like asking questions of the best natural health experts in the world. That's what we're building. And we're only able to build it because of your support. So I want to thank you, genuinely thank you for all your support over the years and for your patience and for putting up with me in the times that you may have disagreed with what I was saying. But I think you know that in my heart, I want humanity to live in peace and prosperity. I want people to have knowledge. I want all of us to live in good health. I want to help end human suffering. I believe in abundance. I believe in freedom, the freedom to think, the freedom to speak, and health freedom as well. And this project right here, this project supports all of those things, and it empowers each one of us individually with a knowledge base that would have been unthinkable even 5 years ago. And this knowledge base system, this will make Google obsolete when you ask questions about health and nutrition and so on. And you will find gems that will be life-changing. You can wake up one morning in your own kitchen and you're like, what would be a great recipe, like a healing smoothie recipe to help with, let's say, insomnia or something? You could ask it that question and it would give you answers, good answers. It would probably give you a recipe. Let me give you an example. We have an early pilot version of this running right now, and I'm just going to ask it here, what are the uses of zinc? All right? And let's see what it says. All right, here we go. Here's the answer from this open source AI system based on some of the books that we have indexed in the system. So here it is. Again, my question, what are the uses of zinc? Here's its answer. Number 1, membrane stabilization, stabilizes cell membranes. Number 2, antioxidant activity. It demonstrates antioxidants effects in tissues. Number 3, collagen synthesis. It plays a role in the manufacture of collagen. Number 4, wound healing. It significantly reduces wound healing time. Number 5, plaque inhibition. It inhibits plaque growth when used regularly as a mouthwash. Wow, I didn't realize that. Number 6, mast cell stabilization. It inhibits mast cell degranulation. And then number 7, immune enhancement. Zinc has numerous immune enhancing activities due to its role as a cofactor in immune system processes. And then it even summarizes it. It says, in summary, zinc has wide-ranging importance in stabilizing structures like membranes and mast cells, wound healing, antioxidant status, immune function, and inhibiting plaque. Its supplementation can be beneficial when any of these functions are impaired. Okay, so it just gave me that when I asked that question. And this is just the early pilot version of this project. Wait until we incorporate all of the data sets that I've been talking about. And you're going to have this at your fingertips, and you're going to have it for free. All right? You're going to be able to use it. You'll be able to use it on a personal basis, educational basis, or even a commercial basis. Our open source license will allow commercial use. So you can use this if you're a health coach. You can use this. You can help answer questions. You can use this as a research tool to help you write articles. I'm going to use it as a research tool, no question about it. If I'm writing an article about a nutrient, like let's say, licorice root or glycyrrhizin, I'm going to type in a question here and see if I missed anything about glycyrrhizin. You see what I mean? So almost no matter what question you have, you'll be able to ask this system. And again, any question you have about health and nutrition and herbs and foods and nutrients and superfoods and prevention and detox and, healing modalities and all that, it's all going to be in the system. Now, the system isn't perfect. All AI systems have some, pitfalls, and some of the data will be outdated, and we'll have to really put forth a lot of effort to keep it updated. But as we are committed to doing that, it will be more and more up to date with each additional release, and we will keep you posted about that. And you'll be able to download each release, again, for free, and you'll be able to use it and get these answers at your own, desktop. Or you could even run this on a tablet. You could buy an Android tablet, probably. You could run like a Mac tablet. What are they called? Or just like a mini PC. You could run this system on, like a $300 PC. So that's the announcement. It's a breakthrough. This is a major contribution that we are making together. You and I and all of us together, we are making history with this. We're going to revolutionize individual knowledge and access to knowledge, and we're going to bypass all the censorship with this. So, Google doesn't want you to know about zinc and that it supports the immune function. Google doesn't even want you to know there is an immune system. That's been under attack since COVID. We're going to bypass all that nonsense, and we're going to bring you these systems for free that will give you access to all the knowledge that you could ever want on these topics. And unlike everything else out there in the conventional side, this thing won't be brought to you by Pfizer. Pfizer will have no role in this project. There will be no big pharma. In fact, it's probably going to take us some effort to try to untrain the pro-pharmaceutical bias in the underlying language models that we're going to be building on top of. There's definitely a pro-pharma bias, especially when it comes to, psychiatric drugs and depression and things like that. But we're going to do the best we can with the resources that we have, thanks to you. And this is our gift to humanity from here forward. Or more accurately, this is just our way of giving back. This is paying it forward. I truly believe that God put us here for a reason, that this is not just coincidence, it's not just random chance, that we are here for a reason. And it's not just to be consumers and add to the GDP, This is about contributing to the world in a profound way so that when each of us leaves this world, we leave it a little bit better than the way in which we found it. Even if the rest of the world is collapsing around us and freaking World War III and financial collapse, everything's blowing up. Hey, you know what? At least we can say we did something that mattered. We contributed to knowledge. We empowered people. We gave people a tool that they can use even if the internet crashes, a tool that they can use and they can share, because you can copy this to anybody. You can put it on a thumb drive and they can run on their computer. You can, quote, pirate this thing all over the place if you want. In fact, I encourage you to do so. But even if the whole of human civilization collapses, there will still be some computers somewhere running this thing, and they can ask it questions. And it will provide knowledge that will help the sustainability and the survivability of the human race. This matters. This is a big deal. And this is the way that we contribute back to a world that has given us so much here at Natural News and the Health Ranger store. You have given us so much. God has given us so much. Mother Nature has given us so much. Every day I see the miracles all around in terms of plants and sprouts and nutrients. And now we can contribute in some small way to the sustainability of this civilization that right now is kind of hanging by a thread. Have you noticed? We need some good news. We need some solutions. We need a reason to believe in the future of human civilization. And this is one of those reasons. This is something that we can do together. I may ask for volunteer help at some point here. I may need it. But right now, all we need is your support. HealthRangerStore.com if you want to help support us. Storable foods, lab tested, super clean, superfoods, all kinds of nutrients and personal care products, all of that. And my little plug for the store. If you support the store, you will help build this tool. And this tool will help change the world. Remember the slogan of my store? HealthRangerStore.com, healing the world with clean food. Well, we may have to expand that. Healing the world with knowledge. Knowledge about clean food, knowledge about nutrition, knowledge about herbs, knowledge about growing food and recipes and all these things that matter day to day because everybody eats. People are either eating poison or they're eating healing foods, So this can affect everyone on this planet in one way or another. So stay tuned, number one. Secondly, if you happen to be someone who is very proficient in open source large language model systems, and if you know what I'm talking about when I talk about like Olama, for example, or MemGPT or GPT for all or quantization and things like that. If you understand what I'm talking about and you want to participate in this project in some way, feel free to reach out to us. And there may be a role for you in it. You can reach us. You can email situationupdate@protonmail.com. Situationupdate@protonmail.com. But other than that, just keep on supporting us and we'll keep building and we're going to build a better world together. Despite the collapsing systems all around us, we are going to build a better world together. So help me God. We're going to make it happen. And this is one of the key ways we're going to do it. Knowledge. Bypassing censorship. Empowering the people. Democratization of human knowledge. And looking back, I realize this is something that God has wanted me to do for over 15 years. Because I started it 15 years ago. Imagine that. I was writing code for this when nobody knew what language models even were. Seriously. Funny how things come around, isn't it? All right, thank you for your support and thank you for listening. I will keep you updated. You can find more announcements on all of this, of course, by following my channels, Brighteon.com. My channel is HR Report. I'm also on Rumble. I'm also on Telegram. My channel there is Real Health Ranger. I'm also on Brighteon.social as Health Ranger. And then, of course, I'm on Twitter, heavily censored, but I'm still there. Health Ranger is the handle there on Twitter. Or you can just read naturalnews.com and I will keep you posted there. Thank you for listening. God bless you all. Take care.